How long have you? Oh, sorry.
Hi, everyone. Dr. Maria Sampoulos. Thank you for joining the live event today. I have Ken Brandt. He's the author of Positive Vision. I wanted to have him on the podcast today because he has a great story to tell. And just a little bit of background on him. He's a motivational speaker and author, and wrote Positive Vision, enjoying adventures and advantages to poor vision. Ken, can you just give us a little bit of background on what inspired you to write this book?
Sure. Well, first, thanks for having me on here. It's fun to be here and meet you in virtual land. Well, what inspired me to write the book really was that I had a lot of stories and anecdotes and adventure type things that I'd told people, over the years, over coffee or over beers, and they thought they were really funny and they enjoyed them. And so I thought, well, maybe I should just take them all and put them in a book, or I was thinking at first an article, but it kept expanding, so it became a book.
Yeah. The book's got a lot of positive reviews. I mean, it received great reviews online and majority of online bookstores. And a lot of, downloads online, but also, selling hardcover paper books and audiobooks as well. And, is there any way that people can find, this book? Is it on Amazon or is it on a personal website?
It's well, first, you're exactly right. It's available in all four major formats, ebook, audiobook, paperback, hardcover, and it's available virtually everywhere online around the world. So if you go to any place that sells books or audiobooks or ebooks, you should be able to find it. Just do a search for Positive Vision, Enjoying the Adventures and Advantages of Poor Eyesight, and it'll, in the vast majority of cases, be there.
Yeah. Now you're coming, we're doing this interview, you're in Australia, I'm in the US. Can you tell us about, you've been legally blind most of your life. Can you tell us about your journey with optometrists and ophthalmologists and opticians?
Sure. Well, first, I really am super grateful to everybody who is an optometrist, an ophthalmologist, a vision scientist, a medical researcher, an optician, and a nurse in the field. All of those people have really helped me and tons of other people. Without them, I would not be able to see anything. I've had poor vision my entire life. I was born 3 months premature, and the rods and cones of my eyes just, they didn't have time to fully develop. Also, as you can see, my eyes are slightly crossed, and if I'm tired, they're more crossed. But I'm very grateful for the vision I've had. I had 6 eye operations. I've had a cataract operation in each eye, detached retina in each eye, and 2 other operations. And it's really a marvel of what people like you and everybody else in eye-related medical science has done, that I can see anything. And it's just tremendous. You got to be grateful for every piece of vision you have.
Yeah, thank you so much for telling your story. Can you tell us a little bit about the book?
Sure. Well, I think the subtitle really explains the 2 parts of the book, and they're all interwoven together. It's Positive Vision, Enjoying the Adventures and Advantages of Poor Eyesight. So it's a bunch of adventure stories. All right, so some things are just more exciting if you have poor vision. I think in some ways everything is more exciting if you have poor vision. You've got to, all the stuff that people with good vision take for granted, you got to be a little bit brave to do many of the same things with poor vision. You just don't see as much going on, and you've got to pay attention in a different way. So, there's a little bit of that, but there's also big adventures, that are in there that are part of the story. And there's also the second thing that covers, most of the book, but again, they're all intertwined, is the advantages of poor vision. I think it's very obvious there are disadvantages, and I completely acknowledge that. But I think it's fun and worthwhile and a little bit cheerful to also, if you have poor vision, think about some of the advantages.
Well, who do you think will enjoy this book?
Well, it's sort of hard to say because you, of course, can't really do a sample because you don't know all your readers. You know your friends who have read it, but they're not really a scientific sample. But I think there are two broad categories. One is people who like biographies and adventures and inspiring stories. So that's one whole group. And then a second whole group are people that have glasses or contact lenses or maybe see don't well and their families and friends and people in the vision field such as yourself. You know, that's a second whole category. And of course they overlap. That's my best guess. Of course, there's other people, you know, you never know. You know, some people, they like the cover of the book and they bought it. You never know exactly what's going on, but that's my theory.
Yeah, for me as an optometrist, I feel that when we have those difficult conversations with patients that are losing vision, if this is an inspiring book, motivational, it might be something that we want to give to our patients to help with them as well. Have you received any feedback from optometrists, ophthalmologists, or any eye care professionals?
Well, that's one of the really nice, very gratifying parts about having written the book. It makes it that and direct feedback from people who it's touched their lives. But lots of optometrists, also ophthalmologists, have written really nice book reviews and have recommended it not just to their friends, but to many of their patients. And that's, you know, it really makes me feel good that that's going on and it's helping people and they're enjoying it.
Is it unusual to think about and discuss advantages of poor vision?
I think it is pretty unusual, but I think it's a fun, I'm biased, of course, but I think it's a fun topic. I mean, there are a lot of advantages. For example, I think we as poor vision people have an advantage doing public speaking. You know, most people, many people are terrified of public speaking. You know, there's surveys where people would rather die than give a speech. You know, it's like, well, that's pretty terrifying. So
Yeah.
we've got some advantages where, you know, like I can't tell is if I'm looking out at the audience, is it a medium-sized audience or a giant audience? You know, I just can't tell. So I'm not intimidated by a large audience because, like, yeah, I don't know. So, and then also sometimes it can be a little scarier if you recognize people in the audience where you say, oh, wait a minute, that's my boss. That's my boss's boss, or that's, you know, whatever. This is a potential client or whoever it is. Well, yeah, I can't see him. So I can't recognize them until I'm way closer. And that's not going to happen when I'm on a stage and they're in the audience. So that doesn't bother people with poor vision either. And then another thing is often if you're giving a speech, you've got lights on you. So even if you have good vision, you can't see the audience at all. You know, you're just looking into the lights. Well, if you have poor vision, you're used to judging an audience's reaction or anybody's reaction by a lot of non-visual clues. You know, are they talking when you were hoping they would be listening? You know, are they laughing when you hoped they would be laughing? Or, you know, are the reactions right? Are the reactions different than you expected? Well, people with poor vision are all attuned into that, so they can judge that way. People with good vision, you know, they're used to judging totally by vision, even if they have great hearing. They're just used to judging totally by vision. So we have an edge there. The other thing where I think we have an edge is many times you have to have a PowerPoint or slides of some type to show. And I can't easily read my own PowerPoints, even though I'm standing right next to the screen or, you know, standing right in front of the computer that has them. So I have to memorize my speech, the general outline, the flow, the anecdotes, whatever I'm going to be talking about. I've got to have it pretty much memorized and go through it. So a couple of things happen. First, it forces me to practice, so the speech is better. Second, I am not literally reading the slides, which is a lot of speakers do, and is colossally boring. So you avoid doing that. So that's an advantage. Sometimes I of course, get out of sync with the slides, and and that confuses the audience. But if I notice, which sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't, then I just laugh and explain what happened, that I can't see him anyway. And you get the audience even more on your side. They think it's pretty funny too. So, those are all advantages. And there's all kinds of other ones related to balance, the joy and advantage of practicing better use of your other senses. I think there's some human relations advantages and some beauty advantages. So there's a whole bunch of them. There's a half a book full.
Yeah. Can you tell us one of your poor vision adventures?
Sure. I'll try to tell this really, really quickly. So I'm going to intentionally leave out parts of it. But here's the gist of it. When I was in college, I, with a couple of friends, decided it would be fun to learn parachuting. It's because I like going fast, but I can't. I can jog. That's okay. If I run, sometimes I trip over something. But bicycling, I can easily go faster than I can see the potholes and the bumps and stuff. And driving, I could never get a driver's license. It would just be, which is good for society. It would just be dangerous if I could drive. So I thought parachuting, they look like they're really going fast, and you're just up in the sky. You're not going to hit anything. It looks really fun. So took the course, learned all the stuff, and that training was really interesting and fun. And you learn some skills that are useful outside of parachuting. And we go up, and you're all in this. You're in this little tiny plane. I was in a place called, literally, this is the name of it, Downsville, Maryland, was where I learned to parachute. So we go up in this plane, and there's only enough room for the pilot, who has a seat, and nobody else has a seat. The other 3 or 4 people, including the instructor, are crammed into the floor, and you take up a lot of space because you've got your big parachute in front of you, you got your backup parachute in back of you, and you get in, and then you realize, wait a minute, we just went through this opening that looks like a door, except there's no door. It's just an opening, and it took the door completely off. So you're all prepared for jumping out of the plane, but I was a little worried about falling out of the plane just going, because I'm sitting a couple inches from the door, and you have to take off and fly. And anyway, it's my turn. So I go out, and you're hanging on to the underside of the wing. There's this metal bar, and your feet are standing on a metal bar over the wheels of the plane. So you're hanging on for dear life underneath the wing and outside. The engine is roaring, the wind is coming at you, and then you have to let go. So you jump back, and even though you have a rope between you and the plane that does the initial pull of your first few parachute jumps, that plane gets really, really far away before that opens. And I've got to tell you, I've had lots of experiences in my life, but I'd have to say one of the nicest feelings you could possibly have in life is when your parachute finally opens. And then you land, and I did really well in the landings, much to my surprise, because when I got out of the plane, I'm going, and I realized for the first time, I really should have thought about whether or not I could see the place we're supposed to land before I did this. And I'm looking, and I'm going, I don't know where I'm supposed to land, So I'm floating down, and I realized, all right, everything looks like a farmer's field except this one brown square. So I'll aim for that. So I got way, 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 way closer, and I realized, oh, okay, wait, that is the airport, and there's a circle of people, and I got way, way closer. And I realized, all right, good. But had those other fields been brown instead of green, I'm not sure what I would have done. But anyway, that happened. Then you get the choice of packing your own parachute or not. And I thought, well, I love this sport. This is really fun. I'll pack my own parachute. If you're going to do it, you might as well take your whole life in your hands. And so I did it. I go and pack my parachute, which involves putting it on the ground, spreading it out. And if it's windy, you put little rocks on it, medium little rocks, and then you toss the rocks out as you fold up the parachute. Next time I go up, same exact thing happens. Get out of the plane, but this time, as I'm coming down, as the parachute opens, bam, 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 I had missed hundreds of rocks, and they're like falling all over me in the sky. And I'm thinking, oh man, it's very good that you wear a motorcycle helmet when you parachute. So it didn't hurt, but it was very surprising. And then I looked around below me, and I'm thinking, well, there's nothing I could do now. But I didn't think there was anybody below me, and nobody ever complained. I didn't mention it to the parachuting instructors, so I think it was all good. But I did a much better job the next time. Then after a while, I actually became the captain of my university parachuting team, which was tremendous and a lot of fun. I really liked all those people. And then talking to my eye doctor, they said, well, it's a very stupid idea to do skydiving if you've had a detached retina, which I had had in both eyes, because if you do have a detached retina and have a giant bang to the head, which could happen, you could go blind, you could lose sight in one or the other eye. So I gave up parachuting, even though I really enjoyed it, and I recommend it to everybody who has not had a detached retina. So that's the short version, but there's more parts in the book.
What are some messages that you give to other people with poor vision?
Well, I say, first, do everything you're supposed to do for your general health. Stay in shape, eat right, get enough sleep, etc. Do everything that your eye doctor recommends. Get checkups. Go to your optometrist. Make sure you've got the right kind of glasses, and you wear sunglasses when you're supposed to, and when it's bright out. All of those basic stuff, and follow all their advice. But then, whatever your dreams and goals are, don't let poor vision stop you. Go for it. Give it a red hot go. You might make it, you might not make it, but go for it. And I think that's very important. The going for it part is fun and worthwhile, and you just might make some of those things.
Yeah, you donate 10% of Positive Vision author royalties to 2 eye-related causes. Which are they, and why did you choose these 2?
Well, first, I thought it would be good to donate, part of the royalties, just because it would seem like a nice thing to do. And the 2 I chose, I'm an American citizen. I spent most of my life in America, and now I'm also an Australian citizen. I'm both, and I now live in Australia. So I wanted to pick one from each. And so Massachusetts Eye and Ear is a hospital and research center they've got a whole bunch of different offices, but they're mostly in Boston. And I had my 2 detached retina operations there, which were a big success. And it was in the early days of detached retina operations, and they did a great job, I can see. So I'm very happy with that. So they're one of them. And so my donations to them are for eye research. And the second is to an Australian organization called Fred Hollows. And what they do is they go not just in some poorer parts of Australia, but 20-something countries around the world. They go help people who have preventable blindness. They've got cataracts but can't afford to do anything about it. They've got some different conditions where if they just had the right eye drops, they could see. So they run around doing that all over the place. So those are the 2 organizations. I'm glad I chose them, in part because now, since I've written my book, I've become aware of so many, dozens and dozens of really great organizations in America, Australia, and all over the place, and other places that are really doing great eye research and great things to help people, and groups of optometrists and opticians, and who are doing all kinds of wonderful things. I just didn't know about any of that stuff till after writing my book, and it would be really hard to pick now.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Again, for people that want to buy the book, Positive Vision, I know it's available ebook and audiobook. Where could they buy it? Tell them about the website if they want to email you. We have pages.
Sure. It's available basically everywhere that sells hardcovers, paperbacks, ebooks, and audiobooks online. If they're selling it, you can go to Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Waterstone, any place, and they'll have it, and lots more. So just look up Positive Vision by Ken Brandt, and you'll be able to find it. You can also, if you want to, go to my website, and there's tons of reviews from all over the place consolidated there. So kenbrandt.com, KenBrandt.com. You can't buy it there, but it has links to lots of places that you can buy it. And anybody who wants to connect to me, I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook, and anybody who has any questions or wants to discuss anything, I'd be happy to connect with you and talk about anything.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. And I think this book would be great for optometrists, ophthalmologists to have and present to their patients as they have those difficult conversations for patients that had good vision at one point and maybe changed over the years as well, and patients where they can connect with someone that's gone through it and has a positive mindset on it. So thank you so much, Ken, for joining. And I hope that the listeners got some good information that they can take back from their clinics.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and